In July 2008, Harlem Hospital became the first hospital in New York City to gain the special baby-friendly recognition for promoting breastfeeding among mothers. Tiffany, a mother of 3, said her breastfeeding turned her at-risk twins into a pair of healthy babies.
I was very, very determined to keep feeding them because of all they're supposed to gain weight more. They're supposed to, it's basically a good medicine for infants when you give them your breast milk. That means that they have immunity, they have a healthier digestive system. It's more pros in giving them breast milk, and I just wanted my babies to be healthy and safe.
In April, the Atlanta-based Centers for Disease Control reported that only 20% of black mothers breastfeed after 6 months, compared to roughly 40% of white and Latino mothers. Health officials say breastfeeding reduces a mother's risk of certain cancers and bolsters the health of her child.
We're definitely trying to mark the shift. I know that the hospital's always been forward-thinking in terms of breastfeeding, but it seems like now you have a series of words and symbols and events that codify the breastfeeding.
The challenge was, can we become baby friendly? And I love a challenge, so I never ever thought that we could not do it. I felt that this was something that our population needed to have, and so we started working on this about 2.5 years ago.
Coordinators in Harlem's hospital's maternity ward talk about the cultural attitudes that inform black women's low breastfeeding rates and the challenge of becoming baby-friendly.
When I started 3 years ago and I walked in and it's like, oh, okay, we want to be baby friendly. I was like, ooh, that's going to be difficult because the population that we serve, I mean, for the most part, we have young mothers or we have mothers who, in terms of their finances, you know, they have to get up and go back to work or they have to get up and go back to school.
Gotcha.
So 9 times out of 10, they're thinking, listen, I can't put a baby on the breast.
In 2007, Harlem Hospital specialists helped women deliver more than 1,100 babies, the majority African American and African.
Women who are coming from West Africa who on the one hand have come from a strong tradition of breastfeeding and yet come to America not to pursue that tradition because they see America as a different circumstance, and then when we tell them that we want them to do something which they perceive as being a throwback to where they were rather than the American dream, it's a very subtle and nuanced conversation that we have to have so that they don't appreciate that we are considering them differently from other American women.
Breastfeeding coordinator Allison Benjamin trains mothers and families on the merits of breastfeeding. She said about 40% of mothers breastfeed after 6 months after leaving Harlem Hospital.
The people who really had to carry the water were the nursing staff because of the fact that they have to deal with, as was said earlier, they have to deal with the reluctant grandmothers and aunts who are and can be adamantly against it. We have to deal with the patient who believes in it but still has to deal with those other relatives who don't believe in it. So we have to teach the patient and immunize the patient also against a world which works in a different way.
So the grandmother said, Miss, she's not breastfeeding. She put her hands on her hips, she's not breastfeeding. I said, well, I come to the bedside because that's my job. I get paid to do this and I want to make certain that my patients get the best they can. And so I moved on. I went to the next bed. And when I went behind the curtain talking to the next mommy, I helped her put the baby on the breast. And that grandmother came to my bedside, very adamant. Well, since it's your job, come and show us how to do it.
To be baby-friendly, hospitals have to pay for formula instead of receiving free packages from companies that sell more than $6 billion worth of formula in America alone.
Every time they have a visit, they get something about breastfeeding. So if we give everybody something about breastfeeding, we'll get a good majority of them breastfeeding.
This is Melina Amusa with WeNews.
I think I'm going to get pregnant just so I can hang out here for a little bit.